Good morning, YouTubers. Still on the subject of prisons. Now, it's very unfair, really, because one sentence isn't the same as another sentence. You've got these judges and these barristers, the people who conspire together to send people to prison, and they're all on 100 grand plus a year. They're going to court in their Rolls Royces and their Porsche 911s, or probably Teslas these days. And if you were to be convicted of a criminal offence, how long you get in jail is determined by people who have got no idea what they're talking about when it comes to serving time in jail. And serving time in jail is different. For example, I met this guy in jail called Clowes. Right, he was a fraudster. To cut a long story short, he was into bond washing, Barlow Clowes investments. And he ripped people off to the tune of £190 million, right? Got 10 years in jail. But someone else could get nicked for dealing in controlled drugs, for example, heroin, something like that. And they could get 10 years in jail. But the 10 years in jail are not the same at all. You see, one, your fraudster, your white-collar criminal, he will go to a very low category jail where he'll probably get home leaves every 5 minutes, and he's just there having a nice time in a very low category jail where everyone behaves themselves, because if they don't get the home leaves, so they have to go for it. Whereas if you were dealing in heroin or something like that, you'd be in a category B jail, which is a much more higher security, because they do a risk assessment on people as soon as they get sentenced. So you can go off to the, I wouldn't say it was a holiday camp, because it's not a holiday camp, but it's a lot laxer and easier, should we say, than, for example, a proper bang-up jail, category B. And the press, of course, play a large role in sentencing, because if they're making a big fuss about something, you're likely to get more jail time than if they didn't give a toss, didn't care. And that's wrong as well, because judges shouldn't pander to the press. This is something wrong, definitely big and wrong. So you do 10 years in a category B, that's what I'm saying, and you do 10 years in a category D, open jail, it's completely different. It's completely different. Famous people that I met in jail. I did meet a few famous ones. Well, he was only famous because I'll show you this picture there. You can Google him, Peter Clowes. Bond washing, Barlow Clowes. That's Clowes. He was quite famous only because he'd been all over the papers and everyone was slagging him off, ripping grannies off the government bonds, and he was just a fraudster. He was just like appealing to people's greed for a quick return on investments, and he just pocketed the money and got off with 190 million. Yeah. Another famous one that was there when I was there was Darius Guppy. Do you remember Darius Guppy? Princess Diana's brother's best man. Tony, he did a diamond fraud, something like that. I can't remember the details of it, but I think he staged a robbery where he got tied up in a hotel room in New York, I think, and the thieves got off with the diamonds, and he just did a diamond fraud. There was no such, anyway. Don't know why he didn't go to prison in America for that, or maybe it was in England. I can't remember. I'd have to look him up. But Darius Guppy, he was again open jail, category D. And didn't really speak to him that much, but I do remember him having lots of arguments in French. He could speak fluent French. He's on the payphone shouting at people and giving it loads in French, and I don't speak French, so I've got no idea what he was talking about, but it would be Tonian, looking down his nose at everyone. And he was said to have said when the judge sentenced him to jail, I don't know how long he got, I'll have to look him up. He said, I suppose prison will be like Eton, will it? I remember saying to him when I saw him, well, is it like Eton then, is it? And he's like, looking all horrified. thinking, oh my God, is this chap going to beat me up? But no, he seemed he's just like a normal person, really, just another person in a category B. Category D, that's an open jail. Category A, of course, being the highest security, or double A. And category D is an open jail. You've got the key for your own room, and you could open a window and run off across the fields at night if you wanted to, but nobody does, because it's not good. It's not good for your position, because then you go back to a more secure establishment. But it's not really the screws that are putting you in jail. That's not what they didn't put you in there. It was the judiciary. It's the judiciary that need to be educated on prison and the effects, especially mental health issues, with being in prison. And if you've got mental health issues to begin with, it's probably going to make them worse, depending on which prison you go to. And the judge doesn't have any say over what category prison you go to. He just sentences you. I'm on 100 grand, I'm a millionaire. Don't know why all you poor people going around thieving off each other. It's a disgrace. You're going to prison for 10 years. That's nonsense. They've got no idea. It should be compulsory for judges to go to prison for a month in solitary, right? And then come out at the other end of the month, and then they can go to the High Court, and then they can decide how long people should do in jail. And sentences will come down massively, I can assure you of that. Now, the only other famous person I can think of that I met and had several conversations with was a proper big Liverpool gangster. I'm not even going to mention his name. Thanks for watching.